The moon was the color of a dead man's fingernail the night Chiamaka first heard the splashing. It didn't come from a tap. It didn't come from the rain. It came from the marbled hallway of the great mansion, a house so big you could fit 10 village huts inside it and still have room for a football field. Splatter, squelch, splatter. Chiamaka pulled her silk covers up to her chin. She was only 19, with skin the color of polished mahogany and eyes that used to sparkle like the morning dew. But tonight, her eyes were wide with a fear that no amount of money could wash away. To understand why Chiamaka was trembling in a billionaire's bed, you must go back to the day of the wine carrying. Chiamaka's family was so poor that their hunger had names. Her father's ribs were like the tracks of a dry riverbed. So when Chief Okechukwu arrived in his long black car that looked like a shiny beetle, the village stopped breathing. He was 62 years old, with a belly that spoke of pounded yam and expensive stews. He offered a bride price that made the elders faint: bags of gold, a tractor for the village, and enough cows to feed the state for a year. "Say yes, my daughter," her mother whispered, clutching a new lace fabric. "This is our escape. Do you want us to die in the dust?" Chiamaka looked at the chief. He smiled, but his eyes were like two cold stones at the bottom of a well. She said yes. On her wedding day, as she walked toward the chief's car, an old woman sitting by the village river, a woman with skin like crumpled paper, grabbed Chiamaka's wrist. "Little bird," the old woman hissed, "the water already knows your husband's name. It has been calling him for a long time. When the river comes to collect his debt, don't try to swim. You will only drown." Chiamaka laughed it off. She was going to the city. She was going to be a queen. The mansion was cold. It was filled with gold clocks that ticked like heartbeats, but there was no laughter. Chief Okechukwu had 4 other wives. The first was Auntie Ifeoma. She was the oldest, with a face as hard as a dried coconut. She never spoke. She only watched. The second was Sister Blessing, who always carried a Bible but looked at Chiamaka like she was a piece of rotten meat. The third was Aneka, who was fake sweet, offering Chiamaka tea that smelled faintly of bitter herbs. And the fourth was Adaogo, a woman who sat in the corner and pulled out her hair strand by strand, whispering to the walls. "Welcome, fifth wife," Auntie Ifeoma said, with a deep and gravelly voice. "I hope you are a good swimmer." That night, the strangeness began. Chiamaka woke up to find the floor of her bedroom damp. Not soaked, just damp. And there, leading from the door to the foot of her bed, were wet footprints. They were the footprints of a woman with very long toes. She ran to her husband's room. Chief Okechukwu was sleeping, but as she watched him, she saw something that made her blood turn to ice. His skin didn't look like skin. In the moonlight, it looked like wet scales, and he wasn't breathing like a man. He was bubbling like a fish in a pot. As the weeks passed, the chief grew stronger. His businesses doubled. He bought more cars. He looked younger, his skin glowing with a strange oily light. But Chiamaka was fading. Her hair became brittle. Her skin turned gray. She felt as if something was drinking her life through a straw while she slept. One evening, during a grand party, Chief Okechukwu raised a crystal glass of palm wine to toast his new bride. "To Chiamaka, the one who keeps me young," Chief Okechukwu bellowed. Chiamaka looked into the reflection of the glass. She didn't see her handsome husband. She saw a rotting corpse covered in green river weeds. Its eyes were gone, replaced by tiny darting minnows. Behind him, she saw a woman made entirely of swelling grey water, reaching out her liquid arms to wrap around Chiamaka's throat. Chiamaka screamed and fell to the floor, frothing at the mouth. Her mother was called from the village. A pastor with a voice like thunder came too. They locked themselves in the room with the 5 wives. "There is a shadow in this house. Speak, Who invited the river spirit? The pastor demanded. Auntie Felma, the first wife, began to laugh. It was a high, screeching sound. I did, she laughed. 30 years ago, Okechukwu was dying of a fever. We were beggars. I went to the river at midnight. I cried to the spirit of the depth. I said, give him wealth, give him life. The pastor gasped. And what did the spirit ask for? The spirit is a jealous woman. She said he could live forever, but only if he brought her a new soul every 7 years, a young, fresh bride, a fifth offering. Every wife you see in this room has given a piece of her soul to the water, but the spirit is hungry again. It wants Chiamaka. It wants all of her. Chiamaka realized the truth. She wasn't a wife, she was a battery. She was being drained to keep the chief's heart beating. We must break it, Chiamaka's mother cried. They took Chiamaka back to the village river at the stroke of midnight. The air was thick with the smell of salt and old fish. The old woman from the wedding day was there, standing in the water. You have come to return the gift? The old woman asked. Chiamaka cried. I renounce the covenant. I do not want the gold. I do not want the cars. I want my life. The water began to boil. A giant shape rose from the waves, a woman 10 feet tall, made of crashing foam and sharp shells. She roared, a sound like a dam breaking. The pastor prayed. Chiamaka's mother threw salt into the water. Chiamaka took the expensive gold necklace the chief had given her, a necklace worth more than the whole village, and threw it into the deepest part of the river. Take your debt back, she yelled. With a final deafening crack, the river went silent. The spirit vanished. You might think Chiamaka went home and lived happily ever after. But remember, children, every debt has a price. The moment the covenant broke, back in the city, the great mansion began to groan. The gold plating on the walls peeled off like dead skin. The luxury cars turned to rusted heaps of metal. Chief Okechukwu woke up and screamed. 30 years of age hit him at once. His hair fell out, his skin wrinkled until he looked like a dried raisin. By morning, he was gone, nothing but a pile of salt on his expensive silk sheets. Chiamaka survived, but she was never the same. The spirit had already taken too much of her. She returned to the village, but she could no longer speak. She spent her days sitting by the dusty road, staring at the ground. Her family, who had enjoyed the riches, were now hated by everyone. They were poor again, but now they were also cursed by the memories of what they had sold their daughter for. The wealth was gone, the husband was gone, and Chiamaka's youth was gone. The village elders now tell this story to every young girl who dreams only of gold, and every parent who looks at a rich man and sees only a savior. The lesson: before you take the hand of a rich man, you must ask which spirit is holding his other hand. For gold that comes from the dark water will always leave you thirsty in the end.